You think staying silent gives you power. You think ignoring someone makes them miss you. You think distance will suddenly make them respect you. But silence without inner change is just strategy. And strategy without self-worth feels forced. Real power doesn't come from not texting. It doesn't come from waiting longer to reply. And it definitely doesn't come from pretending you don't care. Real power begins the moment you stop needing a specific outcome. Because when you stop chasing validation, you stop negotiating your value. And that shift is where detachment becomes strength. No contact sounds powerful on the surface. You pull back, you disappear, you stop responding, and for a moment it feels like control. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. If you're still checking your phone, still wondering what they're thinking, still hoping they react, you're not detached. You're just silent. Silence can change behavior, but it doesn't change your emotional position. And people don't respond to silence, they respond to energy. If your silence is filled with anxiety, expectation, or hidden resentment, that energy still leaks through your actions later. Real emotional independence isn't about withdrawal. It's about reaching a point where their response no longer defines your state. That's the difference between playing a tactic and building stability. Chasing doesn't look like effort at first. It looks like care, like commitment, like trying. But psychologically, it signals something else. When you constantly reach out first, when you over-explain, when you try to fix every silence, you communicate urgency, and urgency often feels like need. Human nature responds to value through perception, and perception is shaped by scarcity. The more available you are emotionally, the less rare your presence feels. This doesn't mean you should become cold. It means value increases when it is chosen, not when it is forced. When someone feels you're trying to secure their attention, the dynamic shifts. They feel pursued, and the one being pursued rarely feels pressure to grow. But the moment you stop chasing, not out of pride, but out of self-respect, the energy changes. Because now your presence is optional, and optional value feels powerful. Most people don't lose power because they care. They lose power because they react. A delayed reply ruins their mood. A short message creates overthinking. A small change in tone becomes a personal threat. That's not weakness, it's emotional dependency. Reaction keeps you tied to someone else's behavior. Stability breaks that cycle. When you stop responding instantly, when you allow silence without panic, when you choose not to explain yourself every time tension appears, you create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, power grows. Detachment isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about regulating it. It's knowing you can feel something without being controlled by it. When your mood no longer depends on their consistency, you become steady, And steady people don't chase, they choose. Something interesting happens when you stop needing a specific outcome. You stop negotiating. You stop trying to convince. You stop performing for approval. And people feel that shift immediately. Because humans are deeply sensitive to emotional dependence. When someone needs your attention to feel secure, you feel the weight of it. But when someone enjoys your presence without requiring it, that feels different. It feels light, attractive, strong. Detachment doesn't make you distant. It makes you self-contained. And self-contained people move differently. They don't chase conversations. They don't overinvest in uncertainty. They don't fear losing someone who is unsure. And that changes the dynamic. Not because you forced it, but because your value is no longer attached to someone else's decision. There's one final shift most people miss. Detachment is not about controlling someone else's behavior. It's about releasing the need to control it at all. When you try to make someone miss you, when you try to trigger regret, when you try to force respect through tactics, you're still operating from control. And control is often just fear in disguise. Real self-worth doesn't manipulate outcomes, it accepts them. If someone chooses distance, you remain steady. If someone chooses you, you don't cling. Your value doesn't rise or fall based on their decision, because it was never dependent on them to begin with. That's the difference between ego and confidence. Ego tries to win. Confidence remains unchanged. And when your emotional position is internal, no one has the power to destabilize you.